Well, good morning, everyone. All students, if you can hear me and see my screen properly, please raise your hand. Thank you, Khalid Ahmed. Only Khalid Ahmed can see my screen. All students in the class, kindly raise your hand, show your hand off if you can hear me and see my screen properly. Thank you, Ghaith. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, Hamza, Hashim Naji, Muhammad Ali Eid. Thank you all my dear students. And now kindly put your hand down so that we can start our lesson. Well, this is Ramadan. I wish you have a peaceful and joyful Ramadan. May Allah fill your life with divine lights of luck and joy. Ramadan Mubarak to you all my dear students. And now let's start with. Today, inshallah, students, you are going to have grammar. And at the beginning, just to remind you what is the meaning of grammar. Grammar is the set of rules, the group of rules that describe the structure of a language and control the way that sentences are formed. So students, let's go over the objectives of our lesson today. Today, inshallah, we are going to have two objectives. Hand in hand, you are going to achieve these two objectives. Objective number one in our lesson today, my students, is to identify the form and the use of the past continuous. We will learn the form of the past continuous and how to use the past continuous tense. And then we are going to identify the negative and the question form of the past continuous tense. And now, students, I will ask your classmate Khalid Ahmed. Are you there, Khalid?
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Khalid. Khalid, today we are going to learn about the past continuous tense, and we will have two objectives by the end of the lesson. So, what about objective number one? Can you help us, Khalid, read the objective number one?
To identify the form and the use of the past continuous.
Bravo, good reading, Khalid. Thanks. And now let's move to Ghaith. Are you there, Ghaith?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Ghaith. Ghaith, can you help us read the objective number two about the past continuous tense?
To identify the negative and the question from the past continuous.
Bravo, Ghaith. Bravo, Khalid. Good reading of you all. And now, students, let's get started. At the beginning of our lesson today, let's learn what is the form of the past continuous tense. Before we had the past simple, like I watched TV, I visited my uncle, but today, students, you are going to learn about the past continuous. The past continuous form is was or were plus the verb or the base form of the verb plus ing. With the verb or the auxiliary verb was, we use I, he, she, and it. What about where? Where is used with the plural form of the subjects, like what, teacher, like we, you, and they. So students, the form of the past continuous tense is was or were plus verb plus ing. Use I, he, she, or it with the auxiliary verb was, and also use the subject we, you, or they with the auxiliary verb were. Now, students, let's learn more about the past continuous tense. Look here, students. The past continuous tense is formed from the past tense of verb to be, was, or were, with the ing form of the verb, was or were plus verb plus ing. We use the past continuous to talk about something which continued before and after another action. And this is the difference between the past simple and the past continuous. The past simple, I watched TV yesterday. Verb plus D or ED, and don't forget that we had the irregular verbs. But the past continuous is used to describe an action that was happening or occurring in the past. We used was or were plus verb plus ing to express the past continuous tense. For example, students, James was watching TV in his living room. Now we are describing what was James doing in his room. We talk about an action. We are talking about a period of time in the past. James was watching TV in his living room. Teacher, why did you use was and not were? Because James is a person. He is a singular person. He is only one, James. James was watching TV in his living room. So what about if the subject is plural? Let's have another example. Look here, students. The twins. Twins, yeah, twins means more than one. They are two. The twins was no. The twins were. Why, teacher? You use were here because when you speak or write about plural, we use were. With I, he, she, and it, use was. With we, you, and they, use were. The twins were playing a game. The form of the the form of the past continuous tense again, students, was and were plus verb plus ing. Here, students, you are going to know more about the past continuous tense. Now we are going to learn about the uses of the past continuous tense. Let's start with this. We use the past continuous tense to describe a past action, something that happened in the past, but over a period of time. We are talking about a period of time, not an exact time in the past. We are describing a period of time that happened in the past. So students, we use the past continuous tense to describe a past action over a period of time. Look here, students. This is now. We are learning English. We are in the class right away. This is now. We are listening to the teacher. The teacher is talking to us. So we are having an English lesson right away. But what about the past? If you talk about a specific time or period in the past, use the past simple. I started, for example, I had a lesson yesterday. I studied my lessons yesterday. But when you are talking about a period of time in the past, use the past continuous tense, which is was or were plus verb plus ing. I was doing. So we use the past continuous tense to say that somebody was in the middle of doing something. We describe the action. We give details about the action. When you talk about an action or the action is in the middle, use the past continuous. So we use the past continuous tense to say that somebody was in the middle of doing something at a certain time of the past. For example, I have here a question, and all students now you can write in the chat box. Don't forget to use was or were plus the verb plus ing. What were they doing yesterday at 2 o'clock? What were they doing? Look here, students, I am talking about they, two girls. I used the auxiliary verb were. What were they doing yesterday at 2 o'clock? Let's see a model answer. The question was, what were they doing yesterday at 2 o'clock? They was, no, they were. Why? Because the subject is they, plural. If the subject is we, you, or they, use the auxiliary verb were. They were what? Study? No, studying. You have to add ing. This is the past continuous tense. Was or were plus verb ing. They were studying English at the school. I will check the chat box again is empty. Why, students? All students, you have to participate in the class. Hamza is raising your hand. Why, Hamza? Do you have something to say? Okay. So students, let's go to the next part. Now you know that the past continuous is used to describe an action that was happening in the past. We use the past continuous to talk about a period of time in the past. So what is the affirmative? What is the positive form of the past continuous? Look here, students. All these verbs the same. Watched. This is past. Why? Because we have got ed at the end. When you come to make a past continuous tense, use the ing and don't forget to add was. Again, students, this is the original verb, watch. When you come to make a sentence in the past continuous tense, use was or were. That depends on the subject of your sentence. Here the subject is I. So I was. I was watch? No, you have to add ing to the verb. I was watching TV, for example. If the subject is you, we use the auxiliary verb were. Excellent. You were watching. Don't forget to add ing to the end of the verb. I was watching and you were watching. Look here, students, we have got he, she, and it. Yeah, he was, she was, and it was. Look here, students, was ing. He was watching. Raith, are you there?
Yeah.
Raith, what about the subject she? She what?
Was.
She was. And don't forget to add what? Add ing. Excellent, Raith. She was watching TV. What about it? It
Was.
It was, bravo, and add ing to the end of the verb. It was watching. And here, students, we have got the subjects we, you, and they. If you have the subject we, you, or they, we use were. We use what? Were. We were watching, and ing to the end of the verb. You were watching, and they were watching. Now, guys, you have got the chance to read all the sentences here, but please add the word TV at the end. I was watching TV, okay?
I was watching a TV. You are watching a TV.
Not a TV, only TV. I was watching TV, you were watching TV, okay?
Oh, okay.
Go on.
He was watching TV. She was watching TV. It was watching TV. We were watching TV. You were watching TV. They were watching TV.
Excellent, guys. Good reading. Now, students, I think it's clear for you all when you make a sentence, when you make an affirmative sentence, a positive sentence, or a statement, only use was or were plus verb plus ing. Was is used with the subject I, or he, or she, or it. And the were is used with the plural form of the subject, we, we, you, or they. Now, students, let's go to the negative form. Teacher, what is the negative? Simply when you add not, something that you don't do or didn't do. Let's have an example. Look here, students. I was watching TV, but what is about if you don't or didn't watch TV, you will say I was not or wasn't. I wasn't watching TV. Okay, I wasn't watching TV yesterday in the morning. I wasn't watching TV yesterday at the school time. Okay, now students, the same will happen with the rest of the subjects. Here you can see the subject you. You was or you were, you were. And for negative add not. You were not watching TV or you weren't. Wasn't and weren't are the short form of the was plus not or were plus not. Was not, the short form is wasn't. Were not, the short form is weren't. So students, now you know the negative of the two forms of was or were. Was not or wasn't, were not or weren't. I wasn't watching, you weren't watching, he wasn't watching, she wasn't watching, it wasn't watching, we weren't watching, you weren't watching, they weren't watching. Now, students, I will ask another one. If you would like to read these sentences, you can raise your hand. We'll start with Hashim Naji. The chance will go to Hashim, and Hamza, get ready. You will be the next one to participate in the next activity. Hashim, good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
Hashim, here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see 8 sentences in the past continuous tense, but actually they are in the negative. All these sentences are the negative form of the past continuous tense. Can you help us read these sentences?
I wasn't watching, you weren't watching, he wasn't watching, she wasn't watching, it wasn't watching, we weren't watching, you weren't watching, they weren't watching.
Bravo, excellent, good reading, Hashim. So students, now you know the affirmative sentences in the past continuous tense, the positive form of the past continuous, and the negative form of the past continuous. Simply add not after was and were. So what about the question form? Now we will going to know about the yes or no questions. Yes or no questions is the question starts with the auxiliary verb was or were. Let's have an example. Here, students, this is a simple sentence. I was watching TV. I was watching. Here we start the sentence with the subject I, then the verb. The auxiliary verb was or were plus ing. When you come to make a question or yes or no question, simply start with was. Don't forget when you start the question, make your question or your sentence start with a capital letter. Look here, was. When was in a simple sentence or a statement, it was starting with or started with a small letter. But when you start with was or were, make it capital and add a full stop at the end. I was watching TV. Was I watching TV yesterday in the morning? The same will happen to the rest of the sentences you were watching. So the question is, were you watching? The answer is yes, I was, or yes, you were. And for the negative, say no, I wasn't, or no, you weren't. I think it's easy for you. You had it in grade 5 and grade number 4. Now, students, let's go to the next one. And I will ask Hamza and Anas. Get ready. Let's start with Hamza. Hamza, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Hamza, here we have got a simple sentence in the affirmative or positive form. He was watching TV. If you like to make a question or yes or no question, how can you make a question? You will start with
Was.
Was, yeah. Was he watching? Was he watching TV? Don't forget, Hamza, to start your question with a capital letter. Change the W in was here to a capital W, okay? And add a question mark at the end. This is Hamza, and let's go to Anas. Anas?
Yes, teacher.
Anas, this is a simple or a statement. She was watching. She was watching TV. If you would like to make a question, you will start with
He.
again.
He.
You will start.
He.
No. She was watching. Start with the auxiliary verb at the beginning. Start with what?
Watching.
Yeah, what was she watching TV yesterday in the morning? So bravo, this is Anas, bravo Anas. Ghaith again.
Yes, Mr.
Right here, the sentence is, it was watching. You have got a clever cat, and the clever cat is watching or was watching the TV with you. The sentence says it was watching. How can you make a question?
Question.
Yeah.
Was it watching?
Was it watching the TV? Yeah. And for answers, if your answer is in the affirmative, yes, he was, yes, she was, yes, it was. If your answer is no, negative form, say no, he wasn't, no, she wasn't, no, it wasn't. Thank you, Hamza. Thank you, Anas. Thank you, Gheith. And now, students, let's go to the these sentences if the subject is plural, we, you, or they. In case the subject is plural, we use the auxiliary verb were. And for questions, you have to start the question with where. And don't forget to make the W letter capital letter and the question mark at the end of the question. Now we will go to Hashim Naji again. All students, if you would like to participate in the activity, please raise your hand. Khalid Ahmed.
Yes, teacher.
Khalid, here we have got a simple sentence using the past continuous. We were watching. Can you make it a question?
Were we watching?
Yeah, were we watching? Look here, students, Khalid started the question with the auxiliary verb were, we, and then the subject and verb plus ing, a question mark at the end. Were we watching? Bravo, Khalid. Then students, all students, I would like you all to raise your hands and participate in the activity. Let's go to Hashim Naji. Hashim. Anas Muhammad.
Yes, teacher.
Anas, this is a simple sentence. This is a statement or a positive sentence. You were watching in this sentence in the past continuous. Can you make it a question?
Were you watching?
Yeah, were you watching TV yesterday in the morning? Were you watching? Yeah, bravo. This is Hashim. Let's go to, this is Anas, sorry. Let's go to Gheith again. Gheith. Gheith. I think Gheith has got a problem with his microphone. Let's go to Hamza Abdullah.
Yes, teacher.
Hamza, here we have got a simple sentence in the past continuous tense. They were watching TV yesterday in the morning. This is a sentence. Can you change this sentence into a question?
Was they?
No, this is a big mistake in English. You can see the auxiliary verb were is used with they. When you make a question, it's use the same auxiliary verb. They were, so the question is,
Were they?
were they watching TV yesterday in the morning? Good. Students, for a positive answer, say yes, we were, yes, you were, yes, they were. And for a negative answer, if you'd like to say no, no, we weren't, no, you weren't, no, they weren't. Now, students, you know the form of the past continuous tense, which is was or were plus verb plus ing, and you know when do you use the past continuous tense to describe an action that was happening in the past? You describe the action, and you know how to make a negative form of the past continuous tense and how to make yes or no questions in the past continuous tense. Let's go now to know more or learn more about the past continuous tense. Students, just to remind you that we use the past continuous tense to say that somebody was in the middle of doing something at a certain time in the past. For example, here you can see a hairdresser that was happening in the past. When you describe this action that happened in the past, we are talking about a period of time. You say this time yesterday. Look here, Only yesterday is a past simple. Yesterday I had my hair cut, but when you come to describe an action in the past, you would like to describe the action, use the past continuous. This time yesterday, what was happening this time yesterday? The hairdresser was working. Was or were plus verb plus ing. So let's have another example. Here you can see a fisherman. When you describe the action in the past, what was happening in the past with this man, you say the fisherman was fishing at 4 a.m. o'clock. Look here, students, with the past continuous tense, we always use words that describe the time. Look here, this time yesterday, yesterday in the morning, yesterday after school, yesterday before I go to bed. You have to use simple words or words that describe the time, that tell us more about the time. This time, yesterday, the hairdresser was working. And for this sentence, the fisherman was fishing at 4 a.m. At 4 a.m. describes what was happening at 4 a.m. yesterday. So students, here I have got an activity using the word all. I wish you all students to participate in this activity, and now you can feel free students to turn on your microphones and participate doing the activity. All students in the class?
Yes.
All students turn on. Yeah, I want you all students turn on your microphones and participate in the activity. This is important. Bravo Gheith, bravo Hamza. Now students, let's do the activity about the past continuous tense. But please give me a chance to read the whole sentence. Here students, let's start with number 1. My family and I. My family and I, this is a plural subject. My family and I was having fun at the open air concert.
Was.
Were.
So choose from was, wasn't, had, or were.
Was.
Ghaith says the answer is was. Why Ghaith?
Because the I is in the first count.
So, but look here, Ghaith. We started with my family and I. You and your family. You and your family. Not only you, but you and your family. Now you are not a singular because you have got your family with you.
Where?
Yeah. Where?
Start where.
Yeah, before I answer this, is it clear for you, Ghaith?
Yeah, okay.
So when you say I was having fun at the open air concert, but I and my family or my family and I, this is plural. The correct answer is were. Thank you, students. Number 2, the girl bought the souvenirs at the souvenir stall or market. The girl sold, were selling, was buying, or was selling.
Was selling.
Was selling.
Was selling.
Yeah,
Was selling.
was selling. This is the correct answer. Bravo. Number 3, I was a leather jacket, but the coat. I was wearing, I weren't wearing, wasn't wearing.
Was
wearing.
So, will.
That was.
Okay, look here, students, the next part, the second half of the sentence. I, a leather jacket, but the coat. This means the first sentence is in the negative. When you find but in the second part, that means the first part is negative.
Was not wearing.
I wasn't wearing a leather jacket, but the coat. Okay? Is it okay, students?
Okay.
So again, students, if you have got but in the second half of the sentence, that means the first part is negative. I wasn't wearing a leather jacket, but the coat. Number 4. At first, we was in a huge mansion. Teacher, what is the meaning of mansion? It's a big villa, okay? It's a very big and attractive building.
We're leaving.
Yeah. At first, we in a huge mansion. Wasn't buying? Of course not. Why? Because we is used with a plural auxiliary verb. We were living, or we did have, or we buying, or goes.
No, we were leaving.
No.
We were living
Where
in a huge mansion.
We were living.
Excellent. Bravo, Khalid. Bravo, Faith. Bravo, students. Number 5. What? Tom and Robert. What? We have got 2 spaces. What was Tom and Robert?
Was.
So the students will say was. Look here, we have got Tom and Robert.
What
They
where?
are plural.
Where is two?
So the correct answer is where.
We're
So
doing.
here we have got 2 words. We're not doing or we're doing. Let's check them. What weren't Tom and Robert doing? What were Tom and Robert doing? Which one makes sense?
See.
D. Yeah, I think this is the correct answer. Actually, it's the correct answer. Bravo, Ghaith. What were is used here. Number 6. Where here, students, we start with the auxiliary verb. This is a yes or no question. Were my parents, father and mother, walking the dog? No, they are not walking the dog. The correct answer is no, they haven't. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. Or yes, she is.
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
See.
Only Ghaith, students, only Ghaith knows the answer. So students, is Ghaith's answer correct or incorrect?
Mr. Also Talal is answer in the chat.
Yeah, bravo Talal. Talal says and Ghaith says no, they weren't. So this is the correct answer. Bravo. Number 7. What the cat what with a ball? This is a question. Where the cat?
Where?
No.
Where?
Where?
No,
How come?
it's one. It's
Students,
was.
again, this is important. We use was with singular. I, he, she, or it.
Teacher
And
was.
We was.
Okay,
Was.
wait a minute.
Sleeping.
Okay, wait a minute,
Was
students.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Was is used if the subject is singular. I, he, she, or it. What about the plural subjects? We use were. Were you, were they, okay? And were we. We, you, and they use the auxiliary verb were. So here we can see a cat. Only one cat. This is, yeah. So what is the correct answer?
D. Was playing.
Was the cat playing with a ball? This is the correct answer. This is a question, yes or no question. Here, students, which sentence is correct? We have got 2 sentences. One is correct, one is incorrect. Which one is correct? They weren't watching TV at 7 in the morning, or they wasn't doing the homework at 9 in the morning.
A correct.
Which one is correct? Again?
A.
A, the correct answer is A. Why? Because here you can see
Because
the
they
subject
they.
is they. Yeah.
Was they is more of people. We use were.
We use were. The auxiliary verb here is plural because the subject is plural. They were. Bravo. Yeah. This is the correct. So, bravo students, all students who participated in the activity, bravo. Now students, I will give you some more examples about the past continuous tense. Get ready students because you are going to write in the chat box or you can tell me your answer over the microphone. See the example and get ready for the questions. Look here, we have got a man, he is taking a shower. But is taking a shower is in present. We are asking about the past. What were you? What were you doing yesterday at 7 a.m.? What were you doing yesterday at 7 a.m.? I was having a shower. I plus was plus verb plus ing. I was having. Having what? Having a shower. Okay. Now, students writes about you. What were you doing? What were you doing? Yesterday at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. means in the morning. What were you doing yesterday at 7 a.m. or 7 in the morning? Write in the chat box. Don't forget, we are talking about the past continuous. I was what? What were you doing? Write in the chat box, students. I am waiting. Thanks for all students who participated in the chat box. Thanks. Students, again, I have got a question about you. Write about you. What were you doing yesterday at 7 a.m.? Anas says, I were. No, Anas, I think you have got a problem with was and were. Anas, we use was with I, he, she, and it. Look here, Anas, I, he, she, and it. Use what? Use was. Okay, and use were with we, you, and they. We, you, and they are used with the auxiliary verb were. This is very important here, Anas. So Anas says I was watching cartoons. Good. Muhammad Jabir says I was reading a book. Excellent. Anas says, well, okay, bravo Anas, thanks for your correction. Talal says I was playing football. Okay, good sentence. Khalid Ahmed says I was cleaning my room and reading Quran. Excellent and fantastic answer. Thanks, Khalid. Khalid was helping his mom cleaning the house. He was cleaning his room. I was cleaning my room and reading Quran. Bravo Khalid, and thanks for all students. Ghaith says I were. Again, Ghaith, this is a big mistake in English. Don't say I were. I was. I what? I was watching serials or series with my family. Series, not serials. Khalid says I was asleep. Khalid, actually, this is a past simple. Okay, why? Because here, wait, guys. Khalid says, students, I was asleep. Only was or were is a past simple sentence. I was asleep. To make it in the past continuous, you have to use the verb plus ing. I was sleeping. I was asleep, this is past simple. I was sleeping, this is past continuous. Khalid says, I was sitting with my family. Okay, Abdurrahman, I was in the bed sleeping. Good. I was going to school. Okay, Abdullah. Thank you all my students.
Sir?
Now, yes, Ghaith?
The homework written we are go. I write in the first was, but I changed it to were because I with my family.
No, but you are talking about only you, not about your family. You will say I and my family were. When you started your family included with the subject, I and my family were. But only I was sitting with my family. I was having a breakfast with my family. I was watching TV with my family. Okay, here we are talking about only I was. I and my family were. Okay, right?
Yes.
Students, get ready again. I have got another example. What was he doing yesterday at 7:30 a.m.? What was he doing? This boy. He was having breakfast. He plus was plus verb plus ing. He was having breakfast. So students, the question will be, what about your brother? Here, students, I am asking about this boy. What was he doing? He was having a breakfast. What about your brother? What was your brother doing yesterday at 7:30 a.m.? Write in the chat box. Go to the chat box. Yes. Talal Bashar says he was watching TV. Good. Was or were plus ing. Here he's talking about the subject he, his brother. He was watching. Bravo. Abdurrahman says my brother was having a shower. Excellent. You have to add a full stop at the end of sentence, Abdurrahman. But anyway, excellent answer. Here we have got 6 people and you can see 5 actions or activities. Okay. The question is, what were they doing yesterday? You have to write a complete sentence in the past continuous to describe what were they doing. Let's start with Joe. Joe was the first one. Joe, what was Joe doing yesterday? Joe was taking a shower yesterday after school. So what about John? What was John doing yesterday? John was making his lunch yesterday at midday. What about Martha? What was Martha doing yesterday? Martha was shopping in the market yesterday in the evening. And let's go to Robert. What was Robert doing yesterday? Robert was washing his clothes yesterday in the morning. Mary and Alfred were. Why? Because Mary and Alfred, plural, more than one. So what were they doing yesterday? What were Mary and Alfred doing yesterday? Mary and Alfred, or they were driving their cars yesterday at 7 p.m. Students, the next part in our lesson today is reading. Read and answer the questions that follow. All students get ready. I am going to read this passage and then you have to answer the questions that follow. Who was she? Where was she? What was happening? The title of the reading is Who was she? Where was she? And what was happening? Listen carefully. Yesterday it was raining and thundering. Yesterday it was raining and thundering all day. Anne was playing inside the house. She wanted to be outside. She wasn't playing outside because it was raining. She was feeling tired of being trapped inside the house. Anne was trying to keep busy inside the house. She was reading her book until the electricity went out. Then she decided to practice her sewing. She was practicing sewing until lunchtime. After lunch, she sat by the window and watched the rain. While Anne was watching the rain, the phone rang. Her mother was calling to say she was coming home. She was bringing a new game. Anne and her mother ate ice cream and played the game. While they were playing, the rain stopped, but Anne didn't even notice. She was having such a good time with her mom. Now, students, I am going to read again, so pay your full attention and get ready to answer the questions that follow. The title of the reading is Who was she? Where was she? What was happening? Yesterday it was raining and thundering all day. Anne was playing inside the house. She wanted to be outside. She wasn't playing outside because it was raining. She was feeling tired of being trapped inside the house. Anne was trying to keep busy inside the house. She was reading her book until the electricity went out. Then she decided to practice her sewing. She was practicing sewing until lunchtime. After lunch, she sat by the window and watched the rain. While Anne was watching the rain, the phone rang. Her mother was calling to say she was coming home. She was bringing a new game. Anne and her mother ate ice cream and played the game. While they were playing, the rain stopped, but Anne didn't even notice. She was having such a good time with her mom. Now, students, get ready. We are going to answer the following questions. Here, students, I am going to read the 3 questions and you have to make your minds and try to remember what are the answers of these 3 questions. 1. Where was Anne playing yesterday? Why wasn't she playing outside? Again, where was Anne playing yesterday? Why wasn't she playing outside? 2. What was Anne doing before the electricity went out? What was she doing until lunchtime? Again, what was Anne doing before the electricity went out? What was she doing until lunchtime? 3. At the end of the story, the rain stopped. What was Anne doing? Again, at the end of the story, the rain stopped. What was Anne doing? Now, students, get ready. I will ask one of you to help me answer the question number 1. Let's ask Ahmed Muhammad. Are you there, Ahmed?
Yes, teacher.
Do you remember the answer of question number 1? Where was Anne playing yesterday? Why wasn't she playing outside?
Where was teacher? Where was Anne playing?
Where was Anne playing yesterday? We are asking about the place Anne was playing in yesterday.
Teacher,
Was she playing inside or outside?
Can I answer, teacher?
Anne was playing inside
The house.
the house.
So Anne was playing inside her house. Why wasn't she playing outside? What is the reason that make her play only inside her house, not outside the house?
Because it was raining outside.
Yeah, because it was raining outside. So this is the correct answer, Ahmed. Anne was playing inside. She wasn't playing outside because it was raining. Ahmed, can you read the answer again?
Anne was playing inside. She wasn't playing outside because it was raining.
Perfect, Ahmed. Now, students, get ready. The question is, what was Anne doing before the electricity went out? What was she doing until lunchtime? And here is the reading again, and I will ask any one of you students, anyone, to answer the question. Muhammad, Salim, Muhammad Ibrahim,
Book.
Khalid Ahmed. So we have got Khalid. Khalid, the question is, what was Anne doing before the electricity went out?
She was reading book.
She was reading a book. What was she doing until lunchtime? Until lunchtime, what was she doing?
She was
Practicing
sewing.
sewing. This is sewing. When you make clothes, so you sew. We was practicing sewing until lunchtime. Let's check Khalid's answer. Before the electricity went out and was reading, she was practicing her sewing until lunchtime. Bravo, Khalid. And I will ask you here, so read the answer again.
Before the electricity went out.
Electricity, before the electricity went out.
Electricity went out. Anna was.
Anne, not Anna, this is Anne. Anne
was reading. She was
practicing.
President her sewing until lunchtime.
Yeah, before the electricity went out and was reading, she was practicing her sewing until lunchtime. Bravo, Khalid. Students, get ready. This is question number 3. At the end of the story, the rain stopped. What was Anne doing when the rain stopped? What was Anne doing when the rain stopped? Yes.
Can I answer?
Yes, who is speaking? This is Muhammad. Okay, Muhammad Ibrahim, go on. The question is, at the end of the story, the rain stopped. What was Anne doing?
She had a good time with her mother.
She was having a nice time with her mom. Okay, accepted answer. What else? Look here. They were what?
They were playing.
Yeah, they were playing. Let's check your answer, Muhammad. At the end of the story, Anne was playing a game and eating ice cream with her mother. Bravo, Muhammad. Bravo, Khalid. Bravo, Ahmed. So, students, these are the answers of the 3 questions. And with this, we reach the end of our lesson today. See you the day after tomorrow, inshallah. Have a nice day and goodbye.
رمضان
رمضان
كريم.
مبارك. رمضان مبارك عليكم حبيبي.
مع السلامة
حبايبي. مع السلامة. See you and goodbye.
باي تيتشر.
مبارك عليكم الشهر جميعا حبايبي وعلى الأهل جميعا. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة أستاذ.
مع السلامة. نراكم على خير.
إن أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والاشتراك في القناة.